I invited Kyle and Cassie to be here, and tonight we get Kyle. They're traveling. When they originally said yes, I don't think we knew that Texas was in the plans. So he is so generous to be here tonight. And I kind of gave him some topics to talk about, but then I said, whatever you feel led to share with us, I want you to share, because most of you, well, you guys on this call know that he is a former pastor. And so, I just feel like if the Spirit moves, I'm going to let him take it. So, so I am just excited for him to share with us, encourage us, and give us some words that I know will inspire us, especially for all of us on this call right now. We've been here a long time, you guys, and there are lots of ups and downs in this journey, and we're still all here, and that is amazing. And it's because the vision for like what we get to do is so great, and because this company and the products and the business is so great, but we get to be a part of a story that is so incredible and it's worth sharing. And we each have our own personal stories. But then we get to really cast vision for people to see what they too could be a part of and what could be true for their own life. And so I'm sure that Kyle can speak more to that, but I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Kyle and Cassie, and none of you guys would be here if it weren't for Kyle and Cassie either. So I just am excited that he's going to share with us on our team call tonight. So Kyle, you take it away.
Okay. Well, Jody, thank you so much. And just always excited, humbled to be able to talk to the Beyond Blessed group. You're our family. We love you so much. Cassie's wrangling kids, making sure nobody's drowning outside in the parents' pool. So pray for her and make sure that we come back with all 9. This is not my normal background. I was telling these ladies earlier that this is my childhood bedroom. So if I get kind of nostalgic, that's why, because I spent 18 years of my life in this very bedroom, which is pretty cool to have your own bedroom, growing up. And so I want to talk to you tonight because I know a lot of you that are going to be watching this, as Jody said, you've been around. And so what I didn't want to do is, we got to get our Frank's list, or we need to, are you doing your IPAs? Are you doing those messages? You know what to do. So I didn't want to talk to that. I want to tell you, start out telling you about a story, and it's not our story. I know you've heard our story probably time and time again. If you're new to Beyond Blessed, just really quickly, Cass and I were struggling. We were on food stamps, welfare, and Plexus changed everything: our health, our finances, our family forever. And on the bonus, we get wonderful people like Jody and Matt into our lives that we consider extended family, that we love very dearly, and the many of you on this call that we've come to consider and see as family. But I want to tell you a story. We were gold ambassadors. Okay, we were gold ambassadors, brand new minted gold ambassadors. And some of you watching this are a gold ambassador, and it's a huge achievement. I mean, I was talking to some Plexus leaders the other day, and we all agree the jump from silver to gold may be the biggest jump ever. So if you made it there, good for you, because the percentage of people who do it is so minimal that it's pretty incredible that you're able to do that. So we're gold ambassadors, both of us, newly minted. We had just came back from our very first Plexus event. And that Plexus event was Super Saturday in Portland. Jetty and Lori Harrison had come and shared with us. And we were feeling pretty inspired. So we have a lot of kids, as you know. And so sometimes when you have a lot of children, what you need to do, you have to throw them in the car and just drive, praying that they all fall asleep so that you can get some sort of time to have a conversation with your spouse. So that's exactly what we did. We threw all the kids in the car, gave the older kids iPads or something to look at, and the young kids fell asleep. And Cass and I were driving through in Eugene, and there's a part of Eugene, between Eugene and Springfield, Oregon. There's a creek that runs through it, and on side of both of these creeks are these beautiful mountains, and on these little mountains, this kind of tiny little hilltop mountains, you see these incredible looking houses and this land, and you would just look for it in these rolling green hills and these houses. And so Cassie and I had at that point never owned a home. We've always rented. We have lived in 16 different rental houses, 16 different rental houses. So if you need to move or any tips on moving, just let me know. I'm your man. We know how to do it. We could do it well. We hate doing it still after 16, but we did well. So we're driving through this beautiful part of Oregon, and we had those discussions that sometimes some of us have, as if we can just. Have you ever had those discussions with yourself? If we can just do this, if we can just get here, if we can just be this, if we can just do that. And what the conversation was is if we can just become senior Ruby ambassadors. Now, we wanted to be diamonds, of course, but we just felt like that was such a long shot. That was so far away that there's no way maybe that will even happen. Maybe in 10 years we'll be diamonds. But for now, if we could just get to be senior Ruby ambassadors, maybe we could own one of these homes. Maybe we could have a home for ourselves. And it was one of those moments that I'll never forget, because as we're reflecting, we started talking about our story and how we even got to this point. How I was a student pastor back in Oklahoma several years before this conversation, and a little gal on our team named Taylor Smith was so sweet and kind to us, and we cared about her and cared for her and cared for her family so well. We Facebook friended her. She taught us how to use Facebook. We didn't really know how to use Facebook. She's like, yeah, you just clicked accept when I tell you to add you as a friend. And so we did. Years later, she's talking about this Plexus stuff. And so we decided to sign up, and here we are. And we talked about this. We talked about the struggles. We talked about me going and selling things on eBay so we could pay rent. We talked about all the struggles and hardships with our kids who had physical special needs, and all the mountains of credit card bills from all of our medical debt that we were still trying to pay off at that time. And we just kept thinking, if we could just. And we just had this storyline going and going. And what felt like hours was probably just a few minutes, but we just dreamed, and we allowed ourselves to dream. We allowed ourselves to get into that head space, get into that heart space, to not just reflect on what our story was, not just think about what our story is, but what our story could be, what it could be. And again, we're thinking we just want to get to Senior Ruby. That's all. If we could just get to Senior Ruby, which, by the way, Senior Ruby is a huge deal. It's an incredible accomplishment. And we just knew if we could do that, that all of our wildest dreams would just open up for us, all the things we've ever wanted to do. And I tell you that because I told that story to a friend of mine a couple of years ago, about how Cass and I had this conversation. And he's a pastor. He's in the New England area, and he's a Plexus ambassador, orders his products faithfully every month. And he said, that was the story that captured me. When you were talking about that online, about you dreaming, and even if we could just, that's where I'm at in my life with my health. Even if I could just lose a few more pounds, then I would feel like this. I would feel like that. I could just do this. And I know a lot of us have been with Plexus for a while. And I know a lot of you've done your dream boards, you've done these things, you have these goals, but I really want to invite you this month to sit back, reflect, and have those even if we could just type conversations. Because here's the thing, we've been in a pandemic. We are still in a pandemic. We had one of the most tumultuous political seasons we've ever seen. Our country feels like it's on eggshells all the time, waiting to break loose. Our neighbors are scared to shake our hands anymore. We don't really know if we should be going to public gatherings or not. And we're worried about getting sick. We're worried about our finances. We're worried about whatever. And in the midst of all of that, we're trying to tell people about Plexus. What an incredible, lovely, beautiful, and terrible storm we found ourselves in. But that's part of your story. That's part of your if we could just type moments. So I want you, because I think when we go through very difficult times, we don't allow ourselves to dream anymore. We just go what we need to do today, and what's reality, and who do we need to message, and who do we need to get back to, and I got to sign that girl up, or I've got to get that guy his products, or I've got to get that answer from customer service. And we don't allow ourselves to take a step back and say, one, reflect and go, man, look how far we've come. Look how our story has played out. And I'm going to use the word story a little bit tonight, because I really think that we often dismiss our story. We have those if we could just moments, but we just dismiss it. And so I want you, and those of you on this call, because you went through this with us, and I know that some of you are watching this recording, and you're maybe brand new to Beyond Blessed, and you're watching this, but I want to just tell you, number one, let's talk a little bit about your story. Number one, your story is resilient. It's resilient because you just survived a pandemic. No one since the Spanish flu in the early 1900s can say that. That's pretty incredible. Way to go. You survived it. You're here, you're breathing, you're functioning. You're even able to get on another Zoom call. Way to go. Your story is resilient. You're courageous because if you were like me, there were many nights where we're like really freaking out. What if this is it? What if this pandemic really, I mean, and we all did the Google search, right? And we all went down the rabbit trail of what people thought this was. And we all freaked out and we all had those moments. And if we are people of faith, we find ourselves praying a lot more or just yelling at God saying, what in the world's happening? I mean, but your story is resilient because you made it. You're here. You came through it. Secondly, you're courageous. What a courageous person you are to be able to get through such difficult 2 years. And we thought 2021 would ring in this amazing new year. And it's like, hello, still here, still wreaking havoc. But the reality is, we're not going to ever find a perfect year, a perfect season, a perfect month, a perfect week, heck, a perfect day. It's just never going to happen. We're just going to have days. And how we proceed through those days is going to make all the difference. And so what I want you to do is first just take some moments in the next few days, maybe, and just dream again. I think a lot of us, we get in Plexus, we get in network marketing, and we sit to ourselves and we go, man, we look at our points and we allow our points to dictate our value. And we look at our points and we say, okay, well, this is the new month, right? This is the new comp plan change. I should be skyrocketing. Why am I not skyrocketing? Or maybe I'm not skyrocketing as much, or someone just left the team, or someone's not ordering, or whatever the case. Just, okay, stop. What's the goal? What's your why? What's your dream? What's your story? What does this look like in the end? Are you going to be 65 worrying about Aunt Lucy not getting back to you and ordering? Is that really going to be your story? That doesn't sound fun. You didn't sign up for that, to bite your nails and worry about every single thing that happens in this business. Because I think we've lost our focus maybe a little bit. I know I have. In this last season, I told Cassie, I really had to reflect and say, what do I want our next chapter of our story to look like? So take moments and have those, if we could just type conversations with yourself. Maybe if you're a journaler, is that a word? Journaler. If you journal, then journal. If you have conversations with your spouse like this, I would really encourage you to do so. But maybe even tonight, whenever you're watching this, what if you just wrote down one thing and said, by the end of this year, I'd like to see this happen in my life. And maybe it's not a rank. Maybe it's not a point total. Maybe it's something personal. Maybe it's a leadership issue. Maybe it's a relationship you need to reconcile. Maybe it's you want to increase in your faith. Maybe you just want to increase in a skill set. But I'm telling you, if we stop dreaming, then we'll stop moving. And if we stop moving, then we become stagnant in all the things that we do. And life is not supposed to be stagnant. I mean, the reality is, and I know that not everybody's of this faith, but in my faith, it tells me that I've been given an abundant life, not in a life of abundance. People get those really confused. They think abundance and like all the things and all the sparkly things. No. An abundant life. An abundant life means one that's full of joy. That's every day, no matter what we face, we know that we're going to see the other side of the day, that we're going to get through, and that we have these dreams we're running after. And along the way, when we're running after these dreams, we're going to affect and impact a lot of people along the way. Man, that's worth getting up every morning. So have those moments this week. Sit back and just, are you a daydreamer? Anybody here a daydreamer? I'm a daydreamer. I daydream all the time. I before I go to bed at night, I think about, the conference in November Cassie and I are speaking at. I'm already thinking about that, what we're going to say and talk about, how much fun it's going to be and how the people are going to impact and affect. We're actually speaking in front of all these foster parents, and I'm so excited to get to talk to them and love on them. And that's months away, but I'm a dreamer. I like to dream about those things. I like to think about, not for my attention, but I literally think about after the talk and who's going to come up to me and say, oh man, thank you for sharing this. I feel seen. I feel heard. Thank you so much. You've given me hope. Because that's my dream. That's my mission. That's my purpose, is to affect the most amount of people in the time that I have to help them reach their maximum potential. That's my mission in life. That's my mission. So take some moments and time to dream. Okay. You might have, in the very beginning of your Plexus journey, when you were a silver ambassador, or heck, maybe you had 2 people in the can and you're waiting for that first one, right? Then the next one to come along to get silver. You had big dreams. Maybe at that time you were really excited. You're like, you know what? I'm going to Diamond in 6 weeks. I'm going to show everybody. I'm going to have this mansion, and I'm going to get the boat, and I'm going to retire my husband, and I'm going to do all those things. And then, you get the Golden Bachelor, and you're like, that's okay. Okay, it took me a little bit. That's okay. I still got this. I'm still going. I'm going to get to Hawaii. I'm going to do all these things. Now you're at gold, senior gold, ruby, senior ruby. Maybe you've fallen back. Maybe you've gone forward. But the reality is, when's the last time you retouched upon those dreams? Because you can get so into the minutia of the day-to-day of working hard and showing up. And those are all wonderful things. And in the day and age, you have to constantly feel like you have to be on the edge of the greatest and latest ability to do social marketing so that people will like you, people will buy from you, and people will. And I mean, if we can just retire the phrase, add value, can we just retire that phrase altogether? Because amen, done hearing about it. But the thing is, if you don't ever take a reflection of why you started this journey in the first place, then you'll never get to be where you want to go. You got to remember. You got to reflect, because honestly, a lot of us, maybe our dreams have changed. I know mine has. At first, Cassie and I entered into Plexus out of desperation. People are like, how'd you get into Plexus? Desperately. we needed change. But now the reason why we do Plexus is to see Jody hit diamond, see Kelly hit diamond, see Carrie hit diamond, see see Terry hit diamond. We are here for people, okay? Because the stress has been taken off of us. And now we can focus on others. We have different dreams. But if you're not reflecting upon what your dreams are and going back to where you started from, then you'll never get to where you want to go. Next, I want to, and I'll promise Jody, I won't take up too much more time. I don't know how long these usually are. So I should have asked that question beforehand. Give me about just a couple of minutes of your time. The reason why I've talked about your story and dreaming a lot tonight and told you that story about Cassie and I reflecting and going through the hills of Eugene, Springfield, and dreaming about owning a home one day is because I think you need to craft out your story, because your story matters and people love a great story. The reason why you go to the movies, the reason why you read that book, the reason why your kids have watched Harry Potter, all 8 or 9, however many there are, 1,000 times, is because we love story. The reason why y'all secretly read the Twilight books is because you love a story. It's okay. It's okay to admit it. It's all right. It's a safe place. But the thing is, we love stories. Story compels us. I mean, when you're at a conference and you hear somebody like John Maxwell get up and talk about some of the beginning struggles that he has and now where he's gotten to, it's inspiring. You love a story. But the greatest story that has ever played out is the one that you're living right now, because it's unique. It's different than anybody else's story, and it's yours. And so I really want to encourage you tonight to tell your story. Tell it through the lenses of Plexus. You can tell it through the lenses of whatever you want, but I can tell you, people are compelled by story, and they are so quick to want to be on the journey that you're on, in this case, Plexus, when they understand the story behind it, that heart behind it. Look, when you go to, I don't know, Target, right? You get emotional when you're one in Target. I mean, some of us may do, but do you get emotional when you go to Target and be like, oh, Target, I'm so compelled by your story that I can't wait to spend oodles of money on worthless things that I don't want? No. Now, maybe for some of you go in and you see the little dollar thing that they put right at the very beginning, you load your card up at the very beginning. I mean, it's a deadly trap, right? The thing is, Target uses marketing and story as well to get you in, but do you get emotionally attached to it? No, you don't. You might get a little emotional when you get the bank statement at the end of the month, but that's about the only emotions we have with Target. See, people aren't compelled anymore in 2021 over cold corporations. People don't care anymore about that. People buy from people who they trust, who they can relate to, and whose story is compelling. And you know why it's compelling? Because there are parts of your story that are just like theirs. When I said 5 years ago, Cass and I had financial struggles, probably everybody on this call would be like, yeah, I remember that time. If I said we had mountain the medical debt and had all these prescription meds to try to fight these terrible things that were happening in our bodies and our kids' bodies, you'd be like, yeah, I remember that. When you sat there at night going, how are we going to pay for our kids' college? Some of us have been there. See, the thing is, our stories are crafted in such a way that it's supposed to bring us together, because we're all going through similar things and we're stronger together, better together. So I think a lot of times when we get into this mode of Plexus, yes, I want you to tell them about the amazing products. Yes, I want you to tell you about the amazing business opportunity, but sometimes maybe frame it in your story, because I promise you, there is a mom, there is a businesswoman, there is a couple, there is a young married couple, a young college student, there is a retired couple waiting to hear a story like yours. Carrie, you can reach people I can't reach. You can speak their language, things that they'd be like, who's this bald guy with the beard that looks like the lead singer of Mercy Me? What is he talking to me for? Why is he saying this? Why does his wife look like Carrie Job? That's what I don't know if that's true. That's just what we get told a lot. But the reality is, I'm like, great. Can I be like the skinnier lead worship guy of some some band? Like, I don't know. Tomlin, isn't he thin? Anyway, but the reality is that, Carrie, you can speak to people that I can't speak to. There are people in your network, in your community that has similar experiences. I mean, Terry, there are moms of military daughters that have gone out and they see what you see. They have the struggles that you had whenever your daughter first came. You said, "Mom, I think I want to do this." You're like, okay, what if something happens? What if she gets deployed? What if she? I mean, so there are people that have children that they had extra love in their heart for, and so they adopted a child like Jody did. And so there are these communities and pockets of people that have been inspired by your story, that are inspired by who you are as a people and as a person. And I'm just going to really compel you to don't dismiss your story, because here's what happens. You look, well, our story is not like Cassie and Kyle. Jody, can I say something really funny real quick before I go on? Because this is going to ruin your team call. So I just got out of the pool. Okay. I just got out of the
Do
pool.
whatever you want.
I got out of the pool and I threw this shirt on, and so my undershirt is very wet, and it looks like I have pit stains. Look at this. Look at the wet stains all over my shirt. So anyway, that keeps distracting me. So I just needed to go ahead and call that out right now so that I can get over it and you can get over it. Because I think maybe Terry was sitting there judging me a little bit, going, gosh, I think he put on a clean shirt. How is he sweating that much? It's not. It's just pool water seeping through my shirt. Okay,
I
now
didn't
that we're
even notice.
it's okay. And I had to get it out there so that I could move on. Back to stories. The reality, the thing is and honestly, I use my humor sometimes to talk to people, to connect with people. So the thing is, your story is so important, and the experiences you have, like Terry, your experience with your daughter and her saying, I want to go into the Air Force. I think it is, right? Air Force, Navy, Air Force. Okay. I don't have that experience. I can't speak that language. I can't speak to that mom. I can't say that. But what I could, if I did, maybe I would say something like this. I'm so proud of my daughter serving our country, and that her going and doing these things, being in the Air Force. And, my nerves were shot. Thank goodness for my Plexus products, X, Y, Z, because this is what really helped us. And then she has a future, and I can root her on. I can be fully involved in her life. That's a silly thing, but I'm just saying you can use your story, because there's a mom in your network going, oh, dude, my son, he just told me that. How am I? Okay, I want to know how to have more energy and less stress, and I want that. What is she talking about? My point is this: your life isn't random. Your life isn't just some sequence of events that are just thrown together serendipitously to just entertain you for your benefit until you die. Your life is not random. It has a purpose, it has a mission, it has a goals, and you have experiences that are unique to you. The greatest story that you have ever been part of is your story. And so Plexus is part of that story. Plexus is a huge part of my story, huge part of Cassie's story, and we use it all the time. I've got 3 children that are swimming in a pool right now that have a forever family because of Plexus, because it allowed us to adopt and spend a lot of money on international adoption. That's how Plexus has changed their lives. Maybe there's an adopted mom and dad, or wanting to be a parent who want to adopt, that hear that story and go, I want to know more about this Plexus stuff. So let me close with this. A couple of things. One, I really, really want you to dream. I want you to dream this month. Okay. I want you to really think about what you want out of this, especially those of you who've been with us from the beginning or for a few years now. What do you want? What goals and dreams have you been given, or for some of us in our faith have been inspired to chase after? What is it? You're like, well, I did that when I first started. Okay, do it again. I mean, and I'm going to challenge Jody and Kelly who are Jewel, do it again. What do you want? Why do you want it? Then how are you going to go get it? Because the thing is, we can dream all day, but if we put no action behind our dreams and goals, they will simply just be dreams and goals. That's why I love being married to Cassie. She's my realist. Oh, you got this dream? Well, here's the 10 steps we got to do to get there. Fantastic. Let's do this. The thing is, you got to put into action and you got to show up every day. The thing is, I want you to show up for your story. I want you to show up for your dreams. I want you to show up for the story of other people who are going to hear your story, listen to your story, and be compelled to be part of that journey in Plexus. The second thing I want you to do is, if this is the first time in a long time you've ever been just able to stop and dream and pause, I want you to tell somebody about it. Tell your sponsor about it. Tell your sponsor what you're dreaming about. Tell your sponsor what it is your goals is, and I want you to make a plan with them on how you're going to get there. This month, yes, the points are amazing. Yes, it's such an exciting thing, new comp plan, but the thing is, this is just the first month of the rest of your journey. So it's going to still be there. So don't just get excited about it right now. Get excited about it for the long haul and what dreams and goals you can do. Finally, tell your story. It inspires me every day to hear your stories, and I know it inspires so many other people. We love you. Cassie and I are so excited that we get to be part of their story and maybe just a small part of it. But the reality is, we are here for you. And the best thing that I forgot to mention, but let me close on this. The best thing about your story and your goals and your dreams, you don't have to do this alone. We're here with you. Jody amazingly leading this team, and all of her leaders on this call, and all the people who invited you into this journey. Cassie and I too, we love you. We're arm in arm with you, in the trenches with you, celebrate the high points and fight with you and even for you during the low points, and make sure that those goals, those dreams, those if we could just type moments become reality. Thanks guys for having me on tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kyle, so much. I was jotting down things that I was like, oh, I've got to remember that. And then also writing down all these things that I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, that is part of my story. Like, as you share stories and as you like prompt us, it's like, oh yeah, we just forget like all that, all is wrapped up in our own story because it's our story, and we're like, oh, it's just so ordinary, or I'm so ordinary, or I don't have anything significant to share, or I've shared that before. So even to be reminded of how unique and how much like God can use each of our stories, and they're all so different. And I think the enemy, you know, in our faith, I really think he wants us to doubt that, and he wants us to believe you're insignificant and your story isn't worth sharing. And it's so powerful. So thank you for the reminder and all the
Jody,
promptings.
I love that, Jody, because I have shared your picture with your medical debt picture, your bills. I've shared that picture so many times with people. So even borrowing stories, right, for just a season. So I love that you brought that up, because your story has been very important to me, because not just because of what it's helped you and Matt accomplish, but it's helped inspire other people that you've never even known.
Right. Yeah. And we don't know how
Right.
far reaching, like what the ripple effects are, but that's why we have to share it, because it's so incredible how far reaching it can be. And we may never know, you know, but it's so significant. And we can forget, like we forget, we have to go back and remember. And I love that you said to dream again, because no matter how long you've done this journey, you have to stop and dream all over again and look back. Like, I still have my vision board up here on my wall, and I don't take stuff off once it's happened. I leave it there as like the remembrance stone, like in scripture when they build, you know, they like stop and they put stones to remember what God has done. That's what that is for me. And so when I get discouraged, I can go back and say, look how far I've come. Look at all that's happened as a result of not giving up. And it's so encouraging. And even still, like at the beginning of the year, you and Cassie had us put it was like a 1 year vision board kind of for our phone, and you said save it to your phone. And there have been a couple times that I've been so mad. I'm like, I'm just going to delete that. It's stupid. This isn't happening. like, no, I need to open my phone and I need to look at it. Even if I'm not where I want to be, I need to look and see where I'm headed, and I need to take stock in how far I've come. And so even this week, when I opened it, I was like, oh my goodness, two of the things that I put on there, and you can't put very many things on your screensaver, right? Two of those things have happened, and there are still things on there that haven't. And yet I was like, oh my goodness, that really amazing things have been accomplished. And so it was, a little slap from God to be like, will you just take stock in what I've done, how far you have come? And yes, there's always something else to accomplish, but don't lose sight of it and do not give up in the process. So even this week, I was so thankful that you and Cassie had us do that again, because it was so good for me. It's like, no, you can't give up. Don't delete it. Keep moving and keep sharing, because it matters. And sometimes it's slower than we would hope, but sometimes it's much faster too, right? So I love that reminder of all the things that you shared. So thanks for being here tonight. I so appreciate it. And I never would have noticed the wet spots until you said it, which is so funny. Also, that is what's so great about Plexus, is you can do this from anywhere, and you can hop out of the pool and come give an amazing, inspiring talk to a team, and then you can go hop right back in the pool. So that's what we're going to let you do. Thanks for sacrificing your time and time with your family to be here with us tonight. So we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks, guys. Love you guys.